Hello students, we are back in our history session for today. So today we are going to see lesson number 4, economic development. We are going to study India's economic policy in this chapter that includes a study of the mixed economy, 5-year plans and their success and failures, nationalization of banks, 20-point program, mill workers strike and especially the new economic policy of 1991. So, students, before understanding the economic development of our nation, the first thing which we have to go through is that which kind of economy our nation has adopted. So, yes, India has adopted mixed economy. After our India got independence, our Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru adopted the middle path rather than taking recourse to any extremes. Some countries had adopted capitalism while some had adopted socialism. Each type of economy had its own advantages. So basically there are three types of economy. First is capitalist economy, second is mixed economy, and third is socialist economy. So these are the three different types of economy, but India has adopted the mixed economy. Before going further, let's see what is capitalist system or capitalist economy. In a capitalist system, the means of production are in privately owned. So, in capitalist economy, whatever the production is done, the production is being owned by the private sector. In a socialist economy, the means of production are owned by the state in the name of the society. That means the means of production is owned by the society or social people or social citizen, we can say. In mixed economy, works both in private and the public sector. That means mixed economy gives support to both private and public sector. In order to achieve economic development of modern India, we gave preference to a model of mixed economy. So, in order to satisfy all our kind of needs and demands of the citizen, India adopted mixed economy. There are three different sectors which is been divided by in mixed economy. So first is public sector, second is private sector, and third is joint sector. Let's see public sector. The industries in this sector are completely under the control and management of the government. So whatever the production is being done or whatever the kind of production is being completed, those all things are being managed by the government. For example, production of defense equipment. Second one is private sector. The industries in this sector are owned by private industrialists. Of course, the government supervises and controls them too. For example, consumer goods. So in second, that is private sector, obviously the production and industrialization is done by the private sector itself, but government keeps an eye or supervise or control the kind of a production process. Third point, joint sector. In this sector, some industries are owned by private industrialists while some are run under government management. So in joint sector students, private as well as public sector both are togetherly working, combinedly working. For mixed economy to run smoothly, there is a need for coordination between the private sector and the public sector. The system aims at maximization of production and popular participation on a large scale. An effort has been made in this system to bring together the good aspects of both the capitalist and the socialist system. A mixed economy cannot ignore the profit motive, entrepreneurship, discipline, time bound planning, etc. So, mixed economy is completely depend on the balance of private and public sector. If both are not being properly working, if they are not following the rules and regulations, there will be distraction and disturbance in the economical development of the nation. A mixed economy also naturally tends to give priority to national interest. Long term development is stressed upon with priority. The industries like defense, science research, education, roads, railways, waterways, seaport, and airport development require huge capital investment. But the returns in these areas are delayed. Not many private industries are keen to invest in this area. In such a situation, the government has to take initiatives. So, students, as if the development of the nation has been considered, obviously each and every point of view has been taken into consideration. So, taking all these points into consideration or all the infrastructural development, the economical condition of the nation should be very much sound. Talking about India, we know pretty well the economical condition of our nation is not so much of developed. So, India has to make some kind of an adjustment about the economy which can give the development of the infrastructural point of view too. Thus, India adopted the mixed economy model and 5 year plan and started off on its path of development. So, to understand and to make a perfect balance between the development of the nation with the development of the economy also, India adopted a 5 year plan. The industrial policy of 1973 increased the speed of development. So the industrial policy which was been adopted by our nation in 1973, which really started speeding up the development of the nation. Priority was given in this policy to control the influence of heavy industries, industrial families and foreign industries and remove the imbalance in regional development. The government focused on the development of small scale industry and cottage industry. Government also started paying more attention to the cooperative sectors. So, government first of all started giving more attention to the lower sectors, that means cottage industries and small scale industries, which gave the development for the other higher heavy industries, industrial families and foreign. Now let's see 5 year plans. The colonial power had exploited India economically. The country faced severe problems like poverty, unemployment, population growth, low standards of living, low productivity of agriculture and industries, and backwardness in the field of knowledge, science, and technology. Planning was essential to solve this problem. India established the Planning Commission in 1950 with Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as its chairman. It formulated India's 5 year plan that include rural and agricultural development, balanced industrialization, provision for a minimum standard of living and economic development consist with democratic ideas. It focused on people's participation and individual development in the formulation and implementation of the 5 year plans. So, students, 5 year plan was nothing but a kind of an development of the society and of the citizen of the nation. But how? Obviously, the balance should be maintained among the agricultural or rural development and the industrialization both, so that the participation of the citizen will also be developed, the economical level also will also be developed, and the industrialization will also be developed, which was been included in the 5 year plan. But before understanding 5 year plan, we should understand the fundamental principle of planning. A general principle of planning in the proportionate distribution of the resources of a country and the appropriate use of the human resource to fulfill the needs of the people. So, what were the different kind of principles were been taken into consideration for the planning purposes? So, this was been taken into consideration by having the proper distribution of human resources and fulfilling the needs of the citizen. For that purpose, the goals were being planned. So, let's see what goals of plan are. The general goals of the economic planning of India are as follows. Number 1, increase in the national income. Number 2, bring about rapid industrialization by focusing on the basic industries. Number 3, bring about an increase in agricultural production so that the country becomes self sufficient in food grain production. Number 4, use the human resource in the country optimally by making increasing employment opportunities available. Number 5, remove the inequality in earning and wealth. Number 6, maintain stable prices of commodities. Number 7, bring the growth in population under control by family planning. Number 8, improve the standards of living by eradicating poverty. Number 9, develop social services. And number 10, make the economy self-sufficient. So these were the 10 basic goals of plan on which the 5-year plan was been decided. So, in all these 10 points include the whole and soul development of the country as well as the development of the citizen too, because these goals are having each and every point starting from the agricultural production to the development of the industrialization both. So let's go to the first 5-year plan. So the aim of the first 5-year plan, which was been set up from 1951 to 1956, was laying the foundation of planned economic development. That means a very basic development of the nation, starting from agricultural field, social development, irrigation and flood control, source of energy, rural and small industries, heavy industries and minerals, transport and communication, education and health. These all were taken into consideration for the development purposes. Next is second 5-year plan. So aim of the second 5-year plan starting from 1956 to 1961 was the industrialization. In short, the different kind of industries were set up. Iron and steel industry at Durgapur, Bhilai and Rourkela, chemical fertilizers plant at Sindri, rail engine factory at Chitranjan, factory of railway bogies at Perambur, shipping building factory at Vishakhapatnam, and other heavy industries were set up in the public sector. Huge dams like Bhakra Damodar, etc. were also been built for making the agricultural development at the maximum level. So it led increase in the national income. Coming to the third 5-year plan, the aims of the third 5-year plan were, which was been set up from 1961 to 1966. The first aim was bringing about a balance in industries and agriculture. So the proper balance was been needed in industries and agriculture. Second point, increasing national income, heavy industries. That means giving the support to the heavy industries, the national income should be increased. Third point, development of transport and mineral industries. So, development of the transport and mineral industries to be done and support to be given for them. Fourth, alleviation of poverty. Alleviation means whatever the problems were created relating to the poverty, that should be resolved and poverty should be taken under control. Fifth point, expanding opportunities for employment, which was a very important point. If you want to take an economical development, we should have the employment opportunity for each and every citizen, which was been taken into consideration by the third 5-year plan. Now, talking about third 5-year plan, students, after the third 5-year plan, three one year plan were implemented. Now, what is this 3 1 year plan? Which started from 1966 to 1969. This was a period of intense famine due to the invasion by China and war with Pakistan. The government had to focus on defense rather than development related tasks. Also, the famine required the government to undertake measures to tackle the effects of famine. All these issues stressed the Indian economy greatly. So, in third 5-year plan, this war between China and Pakistan and the famine condition had become an hurdle. So, rather than giving attention to the development of the nation economically, the government has to look forward for taking this situation into control at the first. Now, going further with the fourth 5-year plan, which started from 1969 to 1974, the aim of the fourth 5-year plan were: first one, making India self-reliant; second one, development of basic industries increasing, whatever the basic industries are that should be increased and developed, increasing in the pace of economic development obviously. Third point, pay attention to establish a socialistic pattern of society. That means preference was given for the socialistic pattern at the first, in comparison of the development was the secondary part. So this was the aim of fourth 5-year plan. Now coming to the fifth 5-year plan, students. Fifth 5-year plan started from 1974 to 1979, and the points which was been considered in aim of this 5-year plan were: number 1, making India self sufficient by alleviating poverty. That means to reduce the poverty, obviously the India has to become self sufficient, then only the poverty will be reduced. Second, increasing national income, so employment opportunities will be increased. Third, making large scale employment available, so that large scale employment will be available, which will be very beneficial for the citizen purpose to have their earning capacity more. Fourth point, provide education, nutritious food, electricity, means of communication, and drinking water. That means a very basic requirement of the citizen is to be satisfied. Fifth, making facility for medical treatment available in rural areas, which was very important. If the citizens are healthy, obviously the development of the nation will also be healthy. Sixth point, implement social welfare scheme on a wide scale. To implement social welfare schemes which have been very helpful for the citizen of the nation, so that no any kind of an issues will be created. It cannot become an hurdle between the development of the nation. Seventh point, bring about the development of agriculture, which was the very important part. And agriculture has always become the initial or priority of the nation. So that was also been considered in fifth 5-year plan. Now going further, we will be discussing about sixth 5-year plan, which started from 1980 to 1985. So the aims of the sixth 5-year plan were: number 1, elevating poverty and generating employment. So employment should be generated, then and then only the poverty will be reduced. So they are internally linked with each other. So here that was given the priority. Second one, increasing the growth rate of economy. So economy's growth rate should be increased. Obviously the basic thing which is to be done. Third, shaping and implementing a population policy so that people adopt the small family norm voluntarily. That means family control awareness. If once the families are being controlled, the population will be reduced, or we can say maintained, not reduced. So if the population is maintained, then the nation's development can be happen smoothly. Talking about the programs which were implemented in the sixth 5-year plan, which is very very important. These programs were implemented for the achievement of the goals or aims which were decided in the sixth 5-year plan. So they were: first one, integrated rural development program, that is IRDP. Second one, rural landless employment guarantee program, so that is RLEGP. Third one, National Rural Employment Program, that is NREP. And fourth one, Salem Steel Plant. Okay, so these were the four different kind of programs implemented by government, so that the human beings, or we can say citizens, get the proper opportunity for the development of the economy. That's all about the sixth 5-year plan. Now coming to the seventh 5-year plan, which was being started from 1985 to 1990. And the aim of the seventh 5-year plan was to achieve development, modernization, self-reliance, social justice, improving techniques of production. These all things are related to the infrastructural development. Once the infrastructure is developed properly, obviously these all things can be achieved. So in seventh 5-year plan, the concept was been taken into consideration to develop the infrastructure. For that purpose, programs which were implemented in the seventh 5-year plan were: first one, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, that means employment. Rozgar means employment. Second one, India Awas Yojana, that means residence for Indian people. Third, scheme of 10 lakh wells, so that the water facility can be provided to each and every citizen. So these three basic kind of an plans were taken into consideration in 7th five-year plan to develop the nation. Coming to the next, that is 8th five-year plan, students. Now, the aims of the 8th five-year plans, which was been adopted from 1992 to 1997, the first aim was maintain growth rate in national income at 6.5%. So this was very important because they have to maintain the growth rate. Once the growth rate will be maintained, it will be very helpful for the nation to understand the development of the nation and take it into the consideration for more growth and development. Second, to control the growth of population. Yes, obviously maintain of the growth rate will be done, but even the control of the population should also be done so that the maintenance remain as it is. Third point, encourage program of family planning, as we have already been discussed, to have a small family so that the population will not be increasing. Fourth point, illiteracy removal by expansion. That means illiteracy should be removed so that specific primary education should be given. If once the primary education is been given to all the citizens, obviously the illiteracy will be removed. So preference was given for these 4 points. Now, which were the programs implemented in 8th five-year plan? Let's see. First was Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Yojana. Second, Mahila Samriddhi Yojana. Third, Rashtriya Samajik Arthik Sahay Yojana. Fourth one, Midday Meal Scheme. Talking about midday meal scheme, students, this was being created for attracting children for primary education, at least primary education. If the food is provided in the school, the children will be getting attracted and they will come to school for education purpose. Fifth point, Indira Mahila Scheme. Sixth point, Ganga Kalyan Scheme. So these all schemes were implemented in 8th five-year plan. So let's go to the 9th five-year plan, students. Before going to the 9th five-year plan, the 5-year plan that was a reflection of liberalization and free market policy of 1991 was 8th five-year plan, when importance to the private sector grew. So this is also one of the point to be highlighted over here in 8th five-year plan. So now going to the next, that is 9th five-year plan. Aims of the 9th five-year plan, which begin from 1997 to 2002. So what were the aims? First, to increase the growth rate of the economy. Second, promotion promoting competition in the infrastructural sector. Now, if the competition will be held or a promotion is to be given for competition purpose, obviously each and every sector will try their level best to bring out their sector out. So this kind of two aims were created in 9th five-year plan. So what were the schemes which are being adopted to achieve this goal or aim in 9th five-year plan? Let's go one by one. First was Swarna Jayanti Shahari Yojana. Next is Bhayashri Child Welfare Policy. Third, Rajeshwari Mahila Kalyan Yojana. Fourth, Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Next, Jawahar Gram Samruddhi Yojana. Next, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Next, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, etc. So these all kind of schemes were adopted to increase the growth rate of the economy and to promote competition in the infrastructure sector. Now, let's go further discussing about nationalization of banks. During the tenure of Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, banking was a monopoly of the private sector. These banks represented different industrial groups. The directors of these banks were working towards developing industrial sector and increasing its profits. In order to stop this, the government nationalized the Imperial Bank in 1955 and it got covered into State Bank of India. This bank opened several branches all over the country in a short while and played a major role in development. So students, talking about nationalization of bank, the banks were nationalized because government want the support of economy from the people, and some of the private banks were the private banks were having the monopoly, so that whatever the income was being received, the income was received by the private sector. Government was just having the sum of the percent of inversion in it. Now once the banks were being centralized, nationalized, then obviously the maximum benefit will be taken by the government. Background of nationalization: India has adopted a mixed economy after independence. Nationalization of banks was essential to cover the defects if they occur while implementing different schemes. Also, the profits of these banks. So, these all banks were nationalized, and because of it, the development of the nation was been happened. Further, would come into the government treasury once they are nationalized. Along with this, the policy of developing small industry and pharmaceutical industry had to be implemented. Lal Bahadur Shastri undertook the experiment of the Green Revolution in order to overcome food shortages and droughts. During the tenure of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Congress Forum of Socialist Action, a group in the Congress party inspired by socialist ideas, made a demand for nationalization of commercial banks. Even the Communist Party supported this demand. So, not only the private banks but the commercialized banks should also be nationalized. This was a demand created by the Congress Party's rule. Now, the 20-point program was adopted to get the solution for this kind of thoughts. So, 20-point program. What is 20-point program? Let's go one by one. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi announced the 20-point program on 1st July 1975 and resolved to make efforts towards rapidly becoming a developed nation. The main provision of the 20-point program are as follows. That means to get a rapid growth economically, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi adopted this 20-point program. First point was land ceiling for cities and agricultural land, equal division of wealth, minimum wages for workers, increasing water conservation schemes. So that is the very basic thing which is to be done, and obviously once it has been taken into consideration, the development of the nation can be possible. Second, workers' participation in industry, national training scheme, freeing bonded labor, that means restrictions, so no any restrictions for labors. Third, prevention of tax evasion, economic crimes and smuggling, prevention to be done for these all purpose. Fourth, regulation of price of basic necessities, improvements in the public distribution system. That means whatever the price related things are, that should be on the basic necessities, that will be regulated. And improvement in the public distribution system, that means ration in the normal language which we call them, that should be regulated or improved. Fifth point, improvement in the textile industry by developing handloom sector, weaving loans or weaver section, housing communication facility, making educational equipment available to schools. So very basic 5 points were taken into consideration so that the nation can go on the rapid growth. Talking further, students, announcement of the 20-point program that was been done, that is the very important point to be kept in mind. It was on the 1st July 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Establishment of the further the topic which we are going to see, that is issue of workers. In that In that, the point to be kept in mind is the first textile mill was started in Mumbai on 11th July 1851 by Kwasji Dwar. Okay, eventually mills started in Dadar, Parel, Bhaikala, Shivdi, Prabhadevi and Worli. This part came to be known as Girgaon or town of mills. This is also to be highlighted, students, this point. Area in Mumbai that compressed Girgaon or the town of mills were Dadar, Parel, Bhaikala, Shivdi, Prabhadevi and Worli. Okay. In 1980s, the increasing unrest among workers was due to the economic condition in other sectors. In some industries, the wages of the workers were increasing. They were also getting more amounts of as bonus. They were getting more facility than the textile mill workers. Now, in Diwali of 1981, the workers expected to get a bonus of 20%. The Rashtriya Mil Mazdoor Sangh, which was negotiating with the employers, agreed upon 8 to 17% bonus without taking the workers into confidence. So that was some kind of an bluffing, or we can say corrupting each other, was the point to be considered. Some workers went to Dr. Datta Samant. They asked him to accept their leadership. Workers of 65 mills came together and Dr. Datta Samant led the strike. On 18 January 1982, 2.5 lakh workers went on a strike. Girgaon mills stopped running, making it seem like Mumbai's heart stopped throbbing. Because during that time duration in 80s, obviously the mills were the major part of the production and the economical development of the nation. So once the mill workers goes on strike, obviously the heart pumping or the development obviously will be stopped. Talking further, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Barrister A.R. Atulya, set up a committee to solve this issue. Later, Baba Sahib Bhosle became the Chief Minister of Maharashtra state. He insisted that as per law, he would talk only with the Rashtriya Mills Mazdoor Sangha. Dr. Datta Samant demanded that the law be revoked. In the beginning, the striking workers received help from their native villages. It was also not very difficult for them to help each other. They set up departmental committees and distributed food grains assistance in the form of funds, etc. The left parties had supported the strike. As the strike dragged on, efforts were made to split the striking workers' rank. Even as the strike completed 6 months, the central government completely ignored it. The workers started a jail bharo agitation in September 1982. 1.5 lakh workers took a march on the Legislative Assembly of Maharashtra state. It didn't help at all. The strike completed a year. This was the first strike to have gone on for a year. In this period, about 1.5 lakh workers become unemployed. So students, these all meals which meal workers which went on the strike had created a big issue, and this was the first foremost strike which gone for a 1 year, whole 1 year. Lots of divisions of means breaking of monopolies were being done, breaking of the leaders, or corrupting the leaders, and purchasing and giving the money to the leaders so that the leadership will be dropped over and all the people will understand to the situation and they'll combine again and go for the work. But these all things didn't work at all. Again the situation became more worst. As polyester had come into greater demand than cotton cloth, the sale of meal cloth had already got affected. The mills moved from Mumbai to Surat in Gujarat. The central government nationalized 13 textile mills. Appointment of 13 textile mills. Appointment of arbitrators did not help to resolve the issues. That means now Maharashtra was facing a strike like a fence situation, but obviously somewhere or the other the profitation makes there its own way. So these all textile mill went to the direction of Gujarat, and Gujarat got the kind of an development of industry during that time duration. Now, coming to the next point, that is new economic policy. Now, what is new economic policy, students? The year 1991 is very important in the history of modern India. After the 10th general election, P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India. With Dr. Manmohan Singh as Finance Minister, he adopted the new economic policy of linking India's economy with the global economy. For these fundamental changes were brought about in the Indian economy was brought in tune with the global mm, mainstream. Now, PV Narasimha Rao wanted to compete with the other international countries, or we can say other economy of the developed countries. But it was quite difficult to reach from very low level to the very highest level. So India faced a very difficult situation during that time duration. Indian economy was in a crisis situation before the PV Narasimha Rao government took charge. Chandrasekhar was the prime minister. During his tenure, the rate of inflation was 17%. Economic growth rate had gone down by 1.1%. India had foreign exchange reserves only enough to last for imports for a week. That means India was not having a good enough amount backup too. It had become difficult to pay back its loan and even give the interest of it. As we know pretty well, after independence, India was having the debt of different kind of banks, because the nation has to develop its situation, and for the development purpose, economy plays a very important role. In May 1991, the government had tried to control the situation by selling some of its gold reserves and by mortgaging some. Before the Chandrasekhar government, the VP Singh government had incurred a liability of over 10,000 crore rupee on the economy by waiving off the loans of all farmers. The proportion of internal loans of central and state governments together to the gross domestic production was 55%. In 1980 and 81, foreign loan was 2,350 crore dollars. It increased to 8,380 crore dollars in 1990 to 1991. At this time, India had foreign exchange reserve of only 100 crore dollars. This also had the background of the increased oil price due to the invasion of Kuwait by Iraq. It became difficult for India to raise a loan. Even the non-resident Indians started withdrawing their deposit in foreign currency from India. So these all situation was created as a distraction and disturbance, or we can say hurdle, for our nation, just because of having the balance with the other nations economic value by our nation. This situation was being created. Now, what all the remedies came into existence after this kind of an problematic condition arrived? So PV Narasimha Rao appointed Dr. Manmohan Singh as finance minister in order to find a way out of this situation. Dr. Singh undertook many corrective measures. The situation began to change. Now, what were the different kind of correction measures? He removed the restriction on foreign investment. That means foreign country can allow to invest in Indian countries. He restricted the license system in 18 industries. License restriction was also been removed. In view of the increasing loss in the public sector industries, he opened up the public sector for investment by private industries. So public sectors were open for private industries. In order to bring up the share market under control, he established the Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI, in 1992. Indian sorry National Stock Exchange was computerized so that no any flaws can be created. He gave priority to remove the specter of recession. So he gave the priority for recession to be reduced. Foreign investment in India grew during the first tenure of Dr. Manmohan Singh as finance minister. India could recover the gold mortgage with the Bank of England. The government got the support of the capitalist class as well as the middle class. As the government opened up the telecom sector, mobile phone service started all over the country. Dr. Manmohan Singh signed the agreement with the World Trade Organization and launched the policy of privatization, liberalization, and globalization, which is the very important part and which became a revolution for our nation towards development of economy. Now, World Trade Organization. So, how the different kind of treaties were signed, and after signing the treaty, and after India became the member of World Trade Organization in 1995, what kind of a situation was been taken into consideration. So, areas in which India made improvement as member of World Trade Organization, students. First is reduction in below poverty line, that is BPL population. Whatever the below poverty line people were there, those below poverty line was been reduced, means it was reducing. Second, decline infant mortality rate, means whatever the infant mortality rate was there, it was also been reducing. And the third very important point, availability of facility for drinking water and waste water management. So these all things had helped up to our nation a lot, so that the India can make the space in the development purpose. India signed the South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement, that is SAPTA, along the lines of the World Trade Organization. India removed the import restriction on several commodities for SAARC countries. India also gave discounts on import duties. India opened up the insurance sector to private and foreign investment. So this all kind of freedom has given a kind of an open doors for the foreign country to enter in our nation, and obviously the nation get the opportunity for development. This was been done by Dr. Manmohan Singh. In this way, we have learned about the journey of India's economy. We have come a long way from mixed economy to globalization. The next chapter, we are going to study India's progress in other fields. I hope students you have understood the concept of this lesson, and the lesson is properly been point wise described by me. So thank you.